Chapter 22. Toward early evening, Bear found a secluded spot some paces off the road. There he ordered me to stand against a tree. I hesitated. "Do as I say," he said. When I did, he pulled a twist of rope from his sack, and to my alarm proceeded to tie my hands behind the tree. "What are you doing?" I cried, seeing this as a confirmation of his madness. "I need to fetch us some food," he said, pulling the knot tight. "You'll only interfere, and I don't want you running off." "But I swore I wouldn't," I said. "I beg you don't leave me here." "Ha!" he mocked. "As God in heaven knows, both wheat and trust take a full season to grow." Without another word, he went off, leaving me alone. More than once I tested the knot, determined that, despite my vow, I'd run off. But no matter how I tried, I could not get loose. Instead, my arms grew numb. How long he was gone, I don't know. Enough to fill my heart with more misery and make me swear more violent oaths at him. I even screamed for help, though I knew help would never come. But when I caught sight of the sack he had left behind, I told myself he was bound to return, if not for me, for it. Sure enough, he did. What's more, a large, fat rabbit dangled from his hands. "There, St. Crispin," he said when he came into view, a great grin on his red-bearded face. "Now you can see that for good or ill I always keep my word." He untied me. Faint from standing so long, my arms aching from being tied, I immediately sat down. "Do you know the penalty for poaching?" he said as he worked his dagger skillfully to skin the rabbit. I was so angry I only shook my head. "To feed us both, I've put ours lives in jeopardy," he said. "That's the kind of freedom that exists in this kingdom." With flint, steel, and tinder, he made a fire which he told me to stoke with bits of wood. Then he took up the rabbit, spitted it, and soon had it roasting. "Do you like meat?" he said, seeing me with my mouth agape. "I've only eaten it a few times," I confessed. "A few times?" He laughed uproariously. "Ah, Crispin, the blessed saints were kind when they guided you to me. For my part, I love meat." When he proclaimed the rabbit cooked, he tore it apart and gave me some. As I shoved the bits into my mouth with my hands, I admitted to myself it was the best food I had ever eaten. My resolve to flee abated somewhat. Later, when we had our fill, more meat than I had consumed at any one time in my entire life, and the embers of the fire had burned low, Bear told me to lie down on the far side as he wished to speak to me. What madness, I wonder, would he reveal to me now? It had grown dark. The only light was our little fire. A breeze had sprung, which caused the flames to dance. Bear's red beard seemed to glitter in the firelight, so that his face, despite the dark, was equal to any sun. Bald head gleamed like a moon. Indeed, he was big enough to fill the entire sky. Then he began to speak of his many adventures, his riotous life, the marvels he had seen, the scrapes he had escaped, his fortunes good and bad. Never had I heard such tales. It was a world and life, a way of being utterly unknown to me. What's more, everything he talked about was stitched with laughter. It was as if life itself were a jest, except every now and then he'd cry out with an awful anger at what he called the injustices of the world. Then he spoke of his soldiering days, fighting alongside the Black Prince in Gascony and Brittany. "Our master has been fighting in France for so long," I said. "I've never seen him." "What's his name?" "Lord Furnival." "Furnival," Bear said. "You'll be pleased to know his first home is in Great Wexley, where we're bound." I said, "What manner of man is he?" Bear shrugged. "I saw him too much. A great landowner and arrogant. What he lacked in fighting skills, he made up for in bragging, drinking, and killing, in that order." "But he's a noble knight." He snorted. "Do you think that makes him less mortal? By God's everlasting bones, Crispin, war is where the Christian is truly tested. Alas, your Lord Furnival was not one to inspire faith. If there was looting and cruelty to be done, he did more than his share, with a falcon's eyes for ransom. As for those prisoners who would yield nothing, Bear waved his hand dismissively. Doomed. Regarding his fondness for women, I shan't say, but you may believe me, as Jesus shall be our judge, your Lord Furnival shall have much to answer for. His steward is cruel, I said. A suitable pair, Bear said. And what village is that? Stromford, I said before I could catch myself. When he lapsed into silence, I thought of what Bear said about Lord Furnival. It made me uneasy, thinking it might have been a mistake to reveal my connection and where I had come from. There could be a danger if Bear was truly mad, and we were going there. And yet he seemed to know so much, more than any man I'd met. How, I asked myself, would he consider me when he knew more of what I was? The fire smoldered, a breeze blew, a bird whistled in the dark. My uneasiness had just begun to subside when Bear said, Now, Crispin, it's time I learned the truth of you.